All the marketing that we did was through YouTube. There we are on YouTube. Can you turn that down? Sorry. See the return here. Okay, so we're up on YouTube. We got a few viewers over there. Bunch over. Okay. Well, I'm in Florida, and I just got off of a consult with a woman I would consider a friend, Natalia. She's over here with us on the Q&A, and everybody has questions. First and foremost, if you've never watched me before, this is the first time you're experiencing his advocates. I want to introduce myself. My name is Kelby. I am the executive director for his advocates. I'm dressed really casually today because I am in a hotel room in Florida. I'm here on business and hopefully to get some pool time and a little bit of relaxation. But I caught a cold, I think, a little bit this morning. I've been working on battling, getting it out of my throat and all, and over with all day long. And I've had every recommendation to knock it out, and I think I've done it. So I'm pretty excited. I took some smashed garlic and some organic raw honey, locally raised and farmed. I've taken apple cider vinegar and sea salt and water to gargle that. I've done obviously the vitamins and the different things like that, but mainly rested, and I got a bunch of vitamin D in me. So I'm just trying to do. If you guys got any suggestions for some for the back of the throat, I felt something coming on last night, and I'm willing it out of me right now, doing everything possible to take care of it. But I want to say thank you for considering his advocates for something a lot of people really don't know about or understand what state citizenship is. Now, I do want to address some of the things that people live in fear about, um, such as the term sovereign citizen, and those things that have nothing to do with what we're trying to get accomplished. We are basically a movement of people across the country that realize that there is a division in the nation and there's a culture of corruption. And the culture of corruption is that corporations are masquerading like countries. And in this nation, we really have in law with hundreds of Supreme Court rulings where it still exists a citizenship status called State of the Union citizen. And that's what our founders were. And so if you were to have an elevator conversation with Ben Franklin, he would never admit to being a United States citizen. And then when you start to understand the level of the fraud and the deceit of what they had to do to bring about, um, let's say, this into fruition for 350 million people, it blows my mind that we are here. The predominant portion of America are pledged surety and U.S. citizens and are the collateral for the debt of a corporation known as the United States, which is defunct, defaulted, bankrupted in 1933, and now the power struggle to come and collect. And so the moves that you're seeing are things in consideration of what they are looking at as a nation that's already gone. However, the foundation came back together in 2008 through 2012 and was re-inhabited. And all the nations were served. And I was a part of that. I was a very proud part. Many tens of thousands of people joined in re-inhabiting the greatest nation in the world. And we're not a bunch of sovereign citizens. We're not anything like that, although they would probably want to claim that over people. We are just people that were sick and tired and fed up with the lies and the deceit and how we have a two-party system that is so corrupt that it always comes out one way and it's their way. And I even have and I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not gonna mince words with anybody about my beliefs. I look at Trump and I think some of his moves were some of the greatest moves ever as a president in this nation. And I look at what he's going through right now, and I'm like, why would they go through all this theatrics? Like, what is the purpose of the theatrics? It's divide. It's to divide. When people stand divided, and when people are not united, you are in a failed state. And so, no matter what, no matter how you believe, that guy Trump, whether he was the greatest executive officer in the office position of presidency of the United States corporation, or whether he was a complete dirtball, um, some of the moves he made were outstanding moves on behalf of that executive office and the people. Now you have somebody who's in that office, and I don't believe by right, and I do believe there is voter fraud, and I do think that the media is so corrupt that they are willing to lie about it all the way through. And I think that they're coming up with different elements and things that are nefarious, that are trying to do things against this nation to rob and steal from the people their sovereignty. And there's not that many of you that are sovereign anymore. You're not sovereign here, and you're not sovereign here, and you're for sure not sovereign on paper. And what our ministry does is, and I always have said this to people, even though there's a lot of documentation to coming out, the reason why we've been doing this for 14 years without complaints and helping tens of thousands of people is because we do it right and people get left alone. Because a state citizen is the creditor. The state citizen is the most powerful being on the planet. It's literally in law, when you look at the definition of state, everything is lawful as a lawfully declared, defined word. And you can take words and define them 15 different ways. Um, but that state citizen is so protected. Um, the Supreme Court has ruled over and over that it has nothing to do with the IRS, unless that state citizen wants to contract with the IRS. It has nothing to do with the United States. It literally, a Supreme Court ruling said it's the sovereignty of the king was passed to the state. And then everybody always does is, well, that's the state of California. And what people don't understand is when you look up the definition of state, it's a body of people. The de jure, the lawful original definition of state, meaning the people or the government. And when you look at the de facto definition of state, it's a corporation, and it's a community of persons. And it literally right there in Black's Law talks about people, talks about persons. One was the de jure, the people. It's a body of people, and the de facto one is a community of persons, and it says bound by federal territory. And so literally, and I don't want to get into all the nuancy stuff of how they played it, but trust me, I have it right here, and I suffer for it because I don't want to know this stuff sometimes, and I want to have a life like you, and I want to eat my steak like the guy in the Matrix and not have to worry about it. But you know what? There is something about being free that, eating that steak and living in the Matrix will never give you. And that's that I get to come and go, and I'm not anybody's um, it's a nasty word. I'm not anybody's slave. I was going to say something else, but I don't belong to anybody but him. And yeah, we do have that opinion. Yeah, we are believers. We are followers of Christ. And so were many of the founders, and many of the founders also were Freemasons. And that's, I always hear so many different arguments, and I've read a lot of the work of these Freemasons, and a lot of, from a standpoint of a studied person who's looked at the writings of these individuals. I don't think many of these people who were 32nd degree Masons like George Washington, I don't think they knew what the Freemasons really were up to. They were even challenged back then in some of the periodicals and writings of George Washington, where he said that the Illuminati used that word. George Washington's handwriting in a letter used that word, has infiltrated the Freemasons. And so you look at the Freemasons today, and it's a different culture. Once you get to that 33rd degree, you find out you're worshiping Lucifer. And I've plenty of firsthand material fact witnesses have told that story on YouTube and beyond. So you had this almost immediate takeover of a nation where the freedom fighters were speaking out and fighting to the nth degree and trying to do anything they can to become free and get away from the king. And so they wrote this. It wasn't over a year. It's over tens of hundreds of years. The thought process. What would we do? What would the documents look like? Who would be a part of this? How would this work? What lands would it be in? And so you come over to these lands, and we actually think that there are lands, and we start conquering, and we do things that we maybe shouldn't have done back then, but that's the way species in this earth have maintained for forever. It's conquered or be conquered. But you're here on this land now, and you have um, a duty and an obligation to, in your mind, to get away from the king and want to be free. And so, how do you do that? And this is how they did it. And this is why I know what I'm about to say is a fact in law, and why hundreds of Supreme Court rulings have given us what we have, and why the Department of State issues passports to people that are applying as state citizens, and why we were able to do what we do with the DMV, the IRS, the SSA, and all these agencies and recontract with them, not going up to the mountains and having a shower with our long bearded hair, and because we're sovereign citizens living in the wild, and we're not normal people. We want to make them look freaky and talk about two incidences that happened to police officers 6 years ago, and not talk about the thousand incidences against black people and Hispanics and white people all over the country done by the actual sovereign citizens, which is the law enforcement. Now, I'm not speaking to every law enforcement officer. Many of you guys are good, but there's many of you that are corrupt beyond and don't even know the law, or what you stand for, and how you're standing against people. And you always come up with an attitude against people, and it's unfortunate because people are who you are to serve, and you don't take that approach. You take a different approach. But if law enforcement knew that they were the sovereign citizens, meaning the people acting sovereign, but really are bound, and acting above the law, but really are bound by their oath of office. They're more of a sovereign citizen than any guy on the side of the road with a long beard trying to be free and fish without a fishing license. Some of the stuff that is going on these days. 100 years ago, guys, you didn't need a license to fish. You didn't need a license to stand in water. You didn't need a license to anything. You could go out your front door, but 4 years ago, you couldn't leave your house. There was a period of time where people weren't able to go to a market, weren't able to buy food. And this is the greatest nation in the world. I get it. We were in fear of something that was brought to the people as something to fear. Did it turn out that way? Yeah, I think we proved that different. Did people really die from it? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, is there stuff coming down the road right now? Now there's one called meta something something meta, whatever it is. It's the new virus that everybody's getting sick from in hospitals. But you have all this stuff coming from all these different directions, and God has given us this opportunity to come back as a nation and be the greatest nation in the world. And people think it cannot be done. Bringing back the republic. Oh, I assure you, it's already been done. It never left. The seats have always been displayed and laid out. The law has always had to stay. See, the IRS is a voluntary thing. People think, oh my God, the IRS is not a voluntary thing. If you don't do what they say, they will bum rush you, SWAT team you, and this, that. They will for those people that contracted with them and didn't elect to come out. Yeah. Let me say this. In the IRS code is built in a thing called revocation of election. And when you do it properly with a notice of status and a notice of removal of signature, you're done and you're over with the IRS, even as a United States citizen. But statutes and codes still apply to you as an employee office holder of the United States. But people don't realize that they have an election in every single area of the Social Security Administration, the Obama uh, care, you name it. You don't have to do it. None of these things are forced upon you. They're all said that you got to go and apply. You got to do this. You got to go get this thing here on your arm and stuck in there 14 more times over the next year. And that's just the rules. And because you're not going to have a job if you don't. Now, the reality is you have choices, even with your job. For example, I was telling people don't quit. Even in the military, they said you were going to be forced to this, you were going to be forced out, you're going to be forced that. All those guys are winning cases against the military right now because they were forced to take stuff they shouldn't have had to. All the people that stuck it out and stayed open in their businesses are all winning the lawsuits against the states and the feds. Everybody, everybody. It's all the people that succumbed. As a matter of fact, I don't know of anybody complaining that said no. The only people complaining are the ones that said yes. So you got to really evaluate who you are as a person right now, and you've got to really think for yourself, how serious is this going to get on the next round? It's going to get very serious. It's going to get over the top serious. So I do these Q&As to basically educate people and show people that we as a nation have already re-inhabited. We never really disbanded. The people left their offices, but that whole structure had to stay in place and available for people that wanted it. And they just started using the same name, the United States, and they incorporated it sometime in the early 1800s. I found a case as early as 1806. I don't know. I've seen incorporations of the United States multiple times in the 1800s, a couple times in the 1900s, and once in the 2000s, where it's the United States of America or United States Corporation, Delaware. Seen the IRS incorporation paperwork. I've seen a lot of things. Well, America was called these because the Declaration of Independence, that's the founding documents for our nation. That is the trust indenture that we all agree to, that we say we're a part of. And it says these several or 13 united, lowercase, states, capitalized, of America. States is the noun, America is the noun. United is a adjective describing the people known as states. And in law, they took the de jure everything and right under our nose, right over our head, right in front of our eyes while we were watching television and movies and playing video games and working our butts off to pay our debts because they put us into debt because we make bad choices. With all these smoke and mirrors around right under our noses, they took the United States of America, the trust indenture, incorporated it, and put everybody, every state from a state of California de jure to an all caps corporate state of California. And yes, I will challenge any attorney, any legal professor, the congressional lawyer at the congressional library. You know who I'm talking to right now. I will challenge you in a loving way to get with me on this subject matter, on even just California alone or the United States of America alone, and I will show you that the two constitutions in California, one is for the de jure that still exists today. Google it. Google even agrees with me. And the de facto 1879 is the corporate constitution. One applies to the people, one applies to the persons, just like Black's Law definition of state says. And then you look at the United States of America and you look at the United States, you'll see one is for the de jure, the element of people, the lawful original, the state citizens, and one is for the de facto, the community of persons, people wanting jobs at the United States that want to hold the office of their birth certificate, which is the U.S. citizen. In law, the United States citizen is the birth certificate. And when you go and get your job and you apply and say that that birth certificate is me, you're holding an office. You're officially employed with the United States. And then you start filling out these 1040s and you start filling out these W-9s and you start filling out these W-4s and you want to be a good little employee because your pastor says that, because your friends say that, your church says that, your school says that, your shul, everywhere you go, that they've taken over and in control of now, and your TV says that. The reality is the billionaires have figured this out. They have private foundations, they have private trusts, they do things that they give them a net zero on a return. They're not maybe doing it on a personal level, being a state citizen, but I guarantee Donald Trump and the majors out there that, like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, like the Clinton foundations, I guarantee these guys out there. We've seen the books on the Clinton Foundation, and we've seen what they do and funding their daughter's wedding at $1 million, and we've seen how. And how is it that Hillary was the Secretary of State, going country to country to country, getting donations from these countries to her private foundation? What the heck is going on in this world that we can't pull or wrangle some of these guys back in, and just say, what the heck are you thinking you're doing? The only way to cut them off is stop working for them. That's it. I've been yelling this on mountaintops for years. Stop working for them. Stop voluntarily giving your life away. There's going to be coming a time where I'm going to do a seminar just on all the fraud, just to explain it, like do a dump, just to explain it. There's a lot of smart guys that are almost billionaires that are dumb as stock. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Fearful, fearful, fearful. Because they think they're going to get all their stuff taken. And then I watch other billionaires make donations to their own foundations, bypassing all kinds of, capital gains, all kinds of retirement, all kinds of, you know, IRS issues. And they're praised for it. Oh, Bill and Melinda Gates, oh, they donated all of their stock in Microsoft to their own philanthropy. Their own philanthropy. They were so for the people of this world, to save the world, that they bypass paying any stock, any IRS potential liabilities or issues on the single transaction, the single biggest transaction in the history of the world, just skirts the IRS. They know these things. We're not making this up. The revocation of election is real. The removal of your signature from documents based on fraud and the factum is real. The fact that there's dual citizenship here in this nation is real. I'm going to say something, and it's not because I don't like these guys. I don't like what they represent anymore. And I know for a fact, because I met them, there's good FBI agents, but there's bad. Just like everything out there nowadays. It just seems like the corruption is just here. But when you go read the thing on sovereign citizens that the FBI put together, do you know what they don't put on there? State citizenship. They don't want you to know about it. Why? But they put all kinds of different things, nationals of all kinds of warnings and this, that, and the other, but nothing, no reflection of a state citizen. I'll tell you why. Because they're smart. They don't want people to know about it, and they know a lot of people are going to get it. But if you're going to say things that are trying to push away people from being free, I thought your oath of office was to support people's efforts to say, hey, maybe there was an issue of a misunderstanding. Maybe they were actually trying to be state citizens, and this is the route that they should take in order to be a state of the union citizen, and point people to a starting base and some kind of application that would help them to become free without a $6,000 fee that makes them stateless, you know? and makes them actually a State of the Union citizen again and pulls them out of the jurisdiction of the federal corporation, pulls them out of the liability and being the surety against the debt for that corporation. Maybe that's something that they should do, being that they're office holders, being that they hold an oath of office to the greatest nation in the world. But do they do that? No. They do not want you to know what we teach. They want you to think that we are the craziest group ever. Listen, guys, I hold a broker's license in California. I'm not a crazy. I don't believe in credit anymore. I don't believe in the use of a social security anymore because of how it enriches the banks. And once you understand fractional reserve banking and doing the studies that I've done and doing the amount of loans that we've done over my lifetime in history, I don't want to be a party to the fraud. I walked away from it right before the greatest interest rate market where I could have been doing 5, 10 million easy a year, easy just by calling my past clients. Hey, I think you need a refi. I'll cover all the expenses. I'll get your appraisal out on Tuesday. Already got your channel 3. Has anything changed on it? I'm just going to revise some dates, do this, do that. Yeah, no. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. No cost to you on anything. I'll probably have docs in about 3 weeks. Just look forward to my call. We'll get together. We'll have them come to your house. You can come to my office. The interest rate will be this. You're going to save about 850 a month. No cost. You don't think I could have done that all day long for the last 15 years and committed fraud? Do you know that no lender signs loan documents? You know that you're creating a note, a check that cashes at the Federal Reserve window, and that's how the banks get prepaid. It is not fractional reserve banking in the way that they tell it. There is no loan being created. It is an instrument, it is a check, it is being cashed, and it's based on your value of your birth certificate. And they want you to believe that birth certificate fraud. It even says it on the FBI stuff that doesn't exist. I assure you, I can find your social, your BC, the instrument on fidelity.com, and I can show you how many companies are invested in your legal equivalent, your U.S. citizen, your birth certificate. And bring it in any court. What is this? What is this? What is this QSIP number with this BC number on it? What is this? What is this? Where are these companies investing in this name, in this QSIP, which is backed by this BC? What is going on here? Guaranteed. So why do they have to lie? Because that's what they do. You know it's legal for you to lie as a government official in this nation? It is. I did a propagandizing show. Just type propagandize on YouTube, you'll find it somewhere. It's illegal. It's totally legal to lie to the American people, to propagandize them through social media, through television. I just saw today how ignorant we are across the board on just how they've been programming us. And it's kind of frustrating to me because I'm with you guys. I don't think of myself as a naive person. I don't think of myself as programmed. Boy, I was programmed. Just like my mom, just like my dad, just like my brothers and sisters still, they're all programmed. I was so programmed. I believed what I believed, and I never thought any other way. And what woke me up was 2006, 7, and 8, when that whole act, then I got it, of Congress. Scene 7. Henry Paulson was on his knees, begging to Nancy Pelosi, please give us an $850 billion bailout. Please. Now it's so flagrantly crazy. It's sign the bill. We just got to get it in and we'll read it later. That's Nancy Pelosi's words, not mine. You know what I'm saying? It's like, holy crap, who do you guys think you are in representing our nation? It's like, wow, you don't represent me. But the de jure still exists. The foundational republic in this nation still exists. It was re-inhabited over a 4-year period of time starting in 2008. And because it exists, there are things they can and cannot do without the permission of the people. They can only play like they are in control. But I still believe there's an act going across the board today that I don't know who to trust. All I know is if we can get one person at a time, one family at a time, one business at a time, pull them all out, cut off the whore, stop buying pleasure with the whore. That's what it means. Stop giving your hard-earned dollars at the end of the saloon upstairs every night. Stop volunteering your money. It's your money. It's actually theirs, but you think it's yours. And start doing things that are going to benefit you and your family. Take those taxes. You need help getting out of some taxable issue. There's a lot of smart guys out there doing some crazy stuff. The simplicity of the IRS is within the IRS code. And when you come into holding an office as a United States citizen, you're creating contracts with multiple public franchises, SSA, voters, IRS, you know, whatever, firearms, all these different agencies known as public franchises. And when you create those public contracts, those are the things that they hold over you to show that they have subject matter jurisdiction. So what we did in this fledgling little ministry over the last 15 years as his advocates, same name, same domain, same website, just a lot of people now, all agreeing with what I say from the standpoint that state citizenship is real. What everybody contends with is how to come out. And what I say is you have to deal with every contract that brought you in before you can get out. And the reason is how they indict you, how they get a warrant over you. When you look at that, they go back to the contracts that you signed that you say that don't matter. All I have to do is write this affidavit. Just ask this lady over here, this judge. She says, all I got to do is this. Just ask this guy over here who got arrested. All I got to do is this. God bless these people for trying. That's not the facts in law. When you look at a 3-contract rule and you look at whether or not they can hold subject matter jurisdiction over an individual, what do? They go to these individual public franchises to show your original application in your contract. Boom, subject matter jurisdiction indictment. Boom, you're done. So, to the best of our ability, created the Living in the Private program for people to help them reverse engineering a federal or a state indictment in all of the different contracts that make you surety, collateral, or pledged or contracted to the United States. And we reverse engineered and wrote a serious amount of documents to handle it for you. And we remove people one at a time from the jurisdiction of the corporation. Proud to stand up to tyranny because they are the element of tyranny. And I'm not talking about government. I'm talking about the mass men behind the scenes. Geniuses in a lot of different respects for the way that they set this up and set you up. You were set up. I was set up. But I refuse any longer to capitulate to a structure and a system that I know is unholy, ungodly, and does not have a right to one dime of my hard-earned sweat, equity, work. And it doesn't have a single right to anything you do either. So in the next 24 to 48 months, 2 to 4 years, you're going to see a lot of crap hitting the fan. You're going to see the storms confronting. And I just heard something today, and I loved it. People say, why? Why do you want to be a state citizen, put yourself on radar and become this, that, and the other, and get on these lists of the federal government? I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you a Christian? You're on the list. Do you say Jesus in conversations on the phone? You're on the list. Do you have conservative values? You're on the list. Did you fight in a war? Are you active or retired military? You're on the list. You're not just on the list. They're tapping your phones, they're tapping your texts, they're tapping everything you read on the internet, they're tapping everything. You are a slave. And everything you think you have in freedom, you're passing time until the time they say, put your head on the block, buddy. You're just passing time, trying not to confront the storm that's here. I just heard, you know what buffaloes do when a storm comes? Every other animal in the kingdom run. You know what a buffalo does? They run to the storm. I got a kick out of that. You know why? Because you go through the hardship and you're on the other side a lot quicker than all these animals that keep running around. You know what I mean? Face the beast for what he is, a lily livered chicken, punk sissy Lala, girly girl, pink dolphin wearing shorts. That's what we're dealing with. My God that I serve, that is God, whether you want to believe it or not. You didn't go from the goo to the zoo to you. Okay. That's just not what happened. You didn't go from a rat to a person. Okay. Didn't happen. One of the other lies that we've been told. What happened is my God has kicked butt throughout history against evil and tyranny and will absolutely dominate in this next battle. I'm on his side. So when he tells me to get out, I'm running. I'm out. I'm listening, man. I don't want any part of it anyway. I'm tired of watching Henry Paulson ask for money that people don't have. I mean, they should have given it to the people that own the homes in the foreclosure crisis instead of giving it to the banks. You know what I'm saying? The banks would have got the money anyway. They could have made low interest rate and loans and let people stay in the houses. They don't want the people to be in the houses. They want to flip the houses so the BlackRock, State Street, and all their big companies that they all own can buy more houses and permanently rent and make you a renter for life. Do you know a quarter of all houses are now owned by one of those companies? A quarter in this nation. It's a different world that we live in, and we have to take this nation back. And I'm seeing how it's going down, and I'm seeing our possibility to do it and do it lawfully, do it righteously with the support of the Almighty on your side. Oh, and the law helps. The law is completely behind what we do, 100%. This is why they can't touch it. It's because they use it for their own glory. They use it for their own benefits. So, guys, I'm going to answer some questions right now and see what you got. Okay. My employer will not accept paperwork W-4. I have already sent the letters to the IRS, which has a provider. Where can I look to find that they must accept paper W-4? So, John, we never said that they have to accept a W-4, and a W-4 is normally the course if you're an employer-employee relationship for them to accept. So I don't know what you gave them. For me, it would be a W-8 BEN if you're going to submit something new as an employee for a company, or ask them if you can go exempt on the W-4 because you're exempt anyway, or to ask them if you can sign up through the foundation and be paid through the foundation directly. That's how we teach it. We don't teach people to do weird W-4s. I don't know how to answer that because what you're stipulating, I didn't see your W-4. All right, so I'm gonna record this. Let me turn down the volume. No. Anyway, thank you for this. What should we have to verify that we are now a living man and a living woman? Okay, Dexter, Tanya, stand in the mirror. look at each other, look back in the mirror. You're a living man, living woman. I know that was comical. Sorry. Um, so that's a great question. A lot of people go, well, what makes me free? And it's very simple. Your application and is the offer, the acceptance is the passport, the certified copies of the passport application is evidence. Um, every single time there's a warrant or an indictment, they don't ask for your to prove subject matter jurisdiction. They don't ask for a driver's license or a passport. They actually go and order a copy of your passport application just to prove the DS-11 to prove that you said I'm a United States citizen on the application. And in your case, you wouldn't have said that. So we take the application, we order certified copies of the application so you have evidence. Anything that's certified by the federal government is considered evidence in any case. Now we build a public court of record behind it. We put it into the public and we serve them with the active state. So you're getting a series of documents that you're putting into the public and serving upon them. You're taking an administrative record, a court of record. That's what it's called. And you're serving them with the final information on the court of record as determined in the private side and now put into the public. And now this is called constructive notice. And you're giving them you're giving them waivers, you're giving them a fee schedule, you're giving them a whole bunch of, with a nice letter on the cover to the sheriffs, to the county board of supervisors, because you just want to be left alone and you're operating as a state citizen. There's nothing wrong with it in the law. And you do not believe in sovereign citizen kind of a thing. And we have your back. And so when you read our documents, as you continue to go through the process, you'll understand the scope. We do have a it's called we have a document that shows the process, and it's a little bit confusing, but it's not when you just spend some time reviewing it and understanding the path to freedom. It's the same path that you went into slavery. We just reverse the roles. Let me get that turned down somehow. Come on, Kelby, move fast. No, no, there it is. Boom, chakalaka. Why did I say that? I have no idea. I've been saying that my whole adult life. Boom, chakalaka. Sorry. All right, here we go. Talia. I see that Mark Zuckerberg and all the other major landowners are holding their properties in multiple LLCs and not foundations. What would be the reason? They don't know. They don't know. The easy one is an LLC is limited liability. You can make any other company a primary member of the LLC. They just don't, and people don't understand. And like I was saying to you on the consult we just did an hour ago, Natalia, people just don't understand. Some of the smartest people in the world, they just don't know that they can record things in private foundations that are unrecorded. They have attorneys that are 1,000, 2,000 per hour, like at his level, that are saying you can't do this. They're not just an attorney, they're a CPA, they're a broker, they have all these licenses, and they've been programmed to believe that this is the only style of law that exists. And I assure you, like I said, when I went into the bunker and Norwalk to see all the, and when I say the bunker, I mean the basement of the building for where they record and hold anything pre-1967 recordings. I saw styles of deeds that aren't being recorded today. I'm like, why can't I record a deed like this? They're like, you can't. Like I said, I was told I couldn't sue the government. I did. I was told all these things by all these people. You can't. You can't. You know what? You can. I tell you, you can. And so why not record into something that does not have a requirement to file a return? Why not? I would. And so you can give to God anything you want. And because this law has to respect God, I know it sounds crazy, but this law, in a very weird way, especially the IRS code does, um, you can record in a foundation and you can record on an old deed style. and you can completely avoid the element of capital gains, the element of all kinds of stuff. And I got guys pulling their property out of the county recorders once they got it in the foundation. They're going step 2 and step 3 to get the property completely removed and sitting on somebody else's patent that nobody's making claims on, which means they are the not possession and not paying taxes on their properties. Now, this isn't everybody, and that is a fight to get done, by the way, but it's happening. And it all stemmed from me taking a broker's test um, way back in the day. And one of the questions was, are you required to record a deed in the county recorder? It was one of the practice exams that I got wrong. And the answer was no, you're not required. And I thought, what are the ramifications if I don't record a deed on a transaction on a purchase? Well, they're going to get the deed maybe from the seller. They're going to, not get it from me. What if I didn't record it? What then? And does the property come out? Does the property have a requirement to pay taxes? Are they just going to start leaning up on it? There's all those elements. I don't want to contract for trash, fire, and police. Okay, that's what I'm paying $12,000 a year for. I don't want to contract with that. And that's your right. You make a deposit. It's your right to not have to deposit something. It's called a registration, registrar's office. You don't have to register something. It's a voluntary act. But if you're going to register something, there's better be a way to be able to make a withdrawal. That's the thing that county recorders don't want to do. They want you to register everything, but they don't want to let go because of those taxes. And so, but they have to. And it is a fight. Let's see what questions we've got over on the other side. What's up, YouTube land? Um, we got some people over there, a lot of people. And we got some people over here. Do you guys see like that little Zoom? Yeah, you do, don't you? Zoom. I can't get that stupid trademark of theirs off my thing. Anyway, next question. Does your birth date dictate what state of the union you become? Yes, it does. But for naturalized citizens, we just do it to the state that they're living on currently. What if you live in another state you were born in than the one you were born in? If you move to another state, such as moving to California or Alabama, would you change it to an so you're basically, Craig, as somebody who's um, born in California, you're going to say you're a Californian, even if you live in Alabama or Florida or Texas or moved 100 times. You're still going to be a Californian, and you're going to be at the place where you were born. It's pretty much that simple. I got a sample W-4 from Rob. Basically, it's a standard W-4 exempt with all rights reserved. Act on it. My signature line. My employer will not accept the form. It's been done on their. It has to be done on their portal. No, there's law, John, that you can find that you do not have to capitulate to digital submission only. You can submit a non-digital based agreement. And how I know this is because we've forced the federal government to give us applications to still be able to submit. So what I would do and what I've done, I had an IRS attorney tell me we couldn't do something that we were trying to do. And I asked him a very simple question. I said, I very much want to respect your opinion, but you've made a statement to me and you're asking me to prove my position. And you're the one denying the position that we are trying to make an attempt to come in on. And you're saying it's illegal. So I'm asking you very respectfully, what is the law, the statute, or the code that you are referring to? It is not for me to go find that for you. You've made the statement. It is for you to prove and back up your statement. He could not. So I don't know where I'm going to be able to tell you to find that, but everybody, they cannot force you to do a digital anything. Just know that. but I get what you're saying now. So would an authenticated birth certificate suffice? Um, Authentication is good for a lot of different things, but suffice for submitting with your passport application. I did that. And I don't feel it was like a necessary thing. There's other things we're doing the authentication on the BC for than that, like we used to. But just submit a normal certified copy of a birth certificate with your passport application and be good to go. Is there an online bank or private bank where his members successfully opening foundation accounts, or is it still B of A? We do online B of A activations. Ask Rob for the directions on how to do that. And we do have a few different banks that will do a foundation account for you as well. So he'll be able to give you direction there. Let me go over to, let's see if there's any chats. Then go to YouTube. Okay, first question on YouTube. I'm going to go to the top. Let me get rid of this real quick. Weiss and Associates do various job defining various IRC codes. Yeah, they do. It's California 1849 Constitution published online. I actually have a certified copy of it from the state of California. I don't know if it's published online, but I'm sure you can find it on Google Docs. Hold on, I'm trying to click on these messages. It's not okay. There it is. Sorry, I'm not used to going between Google and Word on this computer. Here we go. Would it be considered discrimination for an employer to fire you upon changing your citizenship status via the I-9 and W-4 in accordance with federal equal opportunity laws? Mike, that's a good question. What is the contract that you have with the employer? I guarantee a status change would absolutely constitute a First Amendment violation and a reason for a lawsuit. Guaranteed. Unless a contract that you have with the employer says something different. They can't fire you for status change. They can't fire you for desiring not to be a U.S. citizen because you're basically stating that you are a citizen of the United States of America. And as state citizen, anytime we do, let me address this because there's a lot of different ways to think this thing through. But it's the HR department. It's generally just some guy or girl that just doesn't know any better, and it's our job to either educate them or not. But if somebody were to fire you because you were trying to do a W-8-BEN or try to submit a W or trying to submit, um, the W-9, and you don't need to do, W-8-BEN is for basically a state citizen or for the ones we've created, or for a non-resident alien, which is again their definition and some ways that they think of as anything that is outside of their jurisdiction. And why do they go specific to non-resident alien? Well, there's no contract, and residency is the contract. The zip codes are the contractual basis for the way that they do everything. The use of the zip code, the use of the holding the receiving mail in the all caps name. And trust me, guys, when you're dealing with employers or dealing with these situations, you gotta think through for yourself. It's don't come at it from an argumentative source or standpoint. They don't really have choices of what you do on those forms. And most people don't even care. Like some just want you to do it online because they don't want to do it online for you. Some people want you to, you can't do that. Who are you to tell me what I can or cannot do? But then again, you may be working for the federal government or for an agency that requires proof of U.S. citizenship. And that's where you do proof of citizenship as a citizen of the United States of America. And then you just do the W-4, either exempt or you come under a contract form. We have a lot of federal employees that move from an employee base to a subcontractor status under their foundation and do give them the W-9 and fill out new paperwork. But it's always tricky because they've never seen this stuff before. Over here on the West Coast, it's a little bit differently. You got a lot of non-resident aliens with no social security numbers applying for jobs all the time with a bunch of zeros in the W-4. And I haven't seen what those checks look like, but I'm wondering if there's a social security that has a huge account out there with 000 000 000. You know what I mean? Um, because they don't have one. They get they do get numbers, not necessarily socials. They're able out here in California. I don't know about any other state. They get driver's licenses. Like, you're an illegal alien and you have a driver's license. How is that? It's because they want to contract with you. They want you to give them money. And it starts with proving that you are a resident. And it starts with proving that you're holding the office of that residency and all these things. But hope that helps a little bit. Stopped. Okay. Do you and your organization offer PMAs? The answer is yes, but let's get real what a PMA is. It already says that a PMA is a private membership association. Well, that can be a foundation, that can be a church, that can be an SSM. It's kind of like saying Kleenex. It works with all different brands because it's private, it's membership based, and it's an association of people. So PMA is like a root word for many different types of structures. We offer PMAs, SSMs, private foundations, unincorporated business trusts. The unincorporated business trust is for that front door element where you want to stay open during the next major shutdown because you want to remove all the contracts with, when we give you everything. We give you the structure of a private rental agreement, a sublease agreement, a signage. We help you all the way through. But to answer your specific question, yeah, we can do a PMA for you. We do um, uh, basically unincorporated business trusts for people that aren't wanting and I don't like calling it a religious because I don't like religion, but a faith-based foundation, or if somebody doesn't have a faith, I can't do a private foundation for you. I can do a PMA for you. I can do an unincorporated business trust for you, but I can't do an SSM. I can't do a foundation because I won't. Um, with that being said, yeah, we can help you in every regard. Also, private trusts. And what is a private trust, and getting your mind wrapped around all that stuff. So anyway, hope that helps. Good question. Do they ever deny your request for certified copy of the passport application? No. Just sometimes takes a ridiculous long time. And a couple of people have not gotten it even after a year and a half. Then we have to order another one. They're very slow, uh, and they do play games. Um, Terry, we've done a lot of videos on that. If you need to ask Rob, he can give you some links to get those answers. That's too long to answer here. Eric, blank of TINA law process is in place already, reestablishing the original jurisdiction constitutional republic. I'm going to say this very respectfully. I know what they're doing, and they do not know what they're doing. And they did not reestablish the de jure constitutional republic law from the ground up. The Republic for the United States of America did. And the one that is being accepted and touted by the FBI as being the head is the Republic. So team law, with all due respect, did not lawfully do the process. They did it top down, and so did a bunch of others. They did not have the people elect or do anything lawfully or properly. It's my understanding of what they've done. So I'm not trying to disrespect their efforts or them as a body of people. I think we all need to come together and figure that out. I think there's a lot of imposters out there trying to divide people up, and I'm not trying to do that, but trying to divide people up into what and how the republic should be lawfully re-inhabited. But just know this, it was lawfully re-inhabited. But guess what? This is why I started His Advocates. I realized, what does the republic matter? You can't have US citizens double-minded, double-pledged, surety collateral for the United States corporation stepping into republic thinking they can hold office positions under the republic because they would be double-minded, and you'd have to boot them. You can only hold people that are state citizens, which is what the republic is. State citizens are self-governed, self-in republic. They don't need a governing organization to be in republic. This is a common misconception. People think you need the republic to be re-inhabited. You need team law, or you need these different organizations out there to do what they're doing to make it work. And I'm going to say this, we are self-governed. And when that law exists, and it still exists, that means when you come out, you are in republic alone. The only reason why these organizations are trying to come out is to seize control. And the Republic for the United States of America does not want to seize control. It wants to serve the people, and it wants to take its orders from the people. And so we are willing, ready, and already holding all the positions necessary to fulfill that. Team law is not. And I know a lot of other organizations that are trying, and God bless them, but they are not doing it in accordance, and they did not do it in time, and they didn't do it from the ground up. And so I say that with all due respect to anybody out there. And I would be happy to get on a call, not to get jumped, not to get put on hold or mute like all these republics tried to do when I was trying to help people come together before bringing republics. There's some insane sovereign citizens out there that don't know what the heck they're doing and are just doing it to seize control and to act like they are the man in charge. And that's not what this is about. His Advocates is just trying to free people so that there are state citizens to fulfill those seats in republic when the actual republic starts taking off. So that's the only reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. But people are in republic without team law. They are in republic without the Republic for the United States of America. It doesn't matter. Republic exists at the sovereignty level of the individual. Good question. Question about Social Security. Should somebody revoke their Social Security number? First and foremost, it's not yours to revoke. You can't. And why would you want to? What you want to do is claim the equity beneficial rights and interest of the money you put into it and get that back. Do the application as a state citizen and put all that money into a foundation. We could help you do that. Familiar with him. Hey, listen, again, I'm saying everything I said respectfully. I'm not trying to piss people off, but if you want to set something up or call, I'd love to put team law and the Republic together and let them go fight it out. I'm not here to fight those battles anymore. I'm here to free people individually. But I would have a conversation with the guy and definitely work towards re-inhabiting the nation together of people. But I'm not going to take what one person says when I've watched it come up from the ground up and over on a system and get accepted, and every country getting noticed of it and getting that respect of the country being re-inhabited in the republic, and then having the FBI completely come after it and having John Walsh trying to tear it down publicly, and CNN and Fox News. And that's when I knew it was real. What we did was real. is because we were publicly attacked, and they started calling us every name in the book. And then we did it lawfully with the voting and everything, and it blew me away watching the constitutional pro progress for re-inhabiting the republic. Blew my mind. I was like so happy to be a part of it. Now I'm not being, listen, if I've done something wrong, I'm going to run from that institution after finding myself to be corrected after the fact. It's been 12 years since it, 13, whatever, 14 years since it's re-inhabited. I have not found anything wrong with the process to which they did it. And otherwise, I would run from it. I ran from secured party creditor. I don't want to be a part of things that don't have the support of the Supreme Court. Uh, State citizenship does. State citizenship is republic. And so the people, once you have enough people that are out and in republic, um, then the actual element of being able to assist them in governance, in their own self-governance, being restrained by the Constitution takes over and takes effect. So I don't know when, how, where. I know the people are coming up one at a time. I know one family at a time, and I know that the republic is waiting for them to come and take their seats and assist in rebuilding this great republic in this nation. But the problem is everybody is fighting about the right way to do it. Everybody's saying he's wrong, including me. It's because I saw how it was done. I've read the law. I've seen the constitutional privileges for being able to do what we've done. And once you've done it and you've looked back on it and you are resolved and you see all the attacks against it, it resonates as being true. And I hope to get everybody involved as a state citizen first, and then into republic and fulfilling office positions one at a time, and then stripping all the municipalities they've stolen, all the counties they've stolen. And what I mean by that, guys, when you look at, when I told you about the United States of America, the trust indenture, and then they created the corporation, the trust equivalent, but it's an incorporation called the United States. That's not the same. The United States was designed and it's got exclusive jurisdiction in the District of Columbia, 9 USC 307H. Okay. 9 UCC 307H. And so when you understand that their exclusive jurisdiction is in the District of Columbia, that means the people have a right to expend their sovereignty and contract as an employee of the United States. And that's what they've done over the last 150, 200 years. But they've stolen the counties. Like County of Orange used to be called Orange County. Why the 100-year-old newspaper is called Orange County Register. That's why the Huntington Beach is now the city of Huntington. Every county has a corporate equivalent and a de jure lawful equivalent. Do you know? And it's the same with the courts. In both the federal level and the state level, there is a de jure equivalent and a de facto equivalent, but nobody knows how to institute the de jure court proceedings for a state citizen in court. I know of a few guys that have attempted to do it and got some headways and some progress at the federal, not the state level, and been able to do things like jury summoning meetings, indictments, and different things with a de jure grand jury in the federal court building. Blew my mind. These things exist in law and they have to be not just entertained, but they need to be fulfilled. So we're arguing about how to do it. Let's make a presumption that the people are the government and we take orders from them. Now let's come behind whatever entity is willing to take orders and grow that together and figure that out and stop arguing about whether it's team law, Republic of the United States, or. And some of the craziest people, there's some guys out there that I think are setups, to be frank with you, that are in charge of republics that have supposedly been re-inhabited, that wrote books on how to kill a federal judge 200 different ways. I'm like, you're insane, dude. You're insane. I don't want nothing to do with that or those types of people. I'm here to deliver a peaceful solution to bring back the greatest nation in the world. That's all I'm here for. I'm not here to argue or capitulate to violence. That's not me at all. Um, it's just way above my. No, it's not, Howard. No, it's not. It's not way above your pay grade. What are members gaining access to or receiving for the 45? Yeah, I can talk about that. So people are asking, what do members gain by getting access to a $49 a month VIP membership? I give a lot of information to these guys, to our VIP members. They have access to so many different things on our website that normal members do not have access to. A 10 terabits of data on our website that people can have access to and download. Now, what we are doing is we've been cleaning it up for the last year to make it easily available. And we put all of our VIPs calls in, there's 300 of them in a special lineup. But those calls are very unique because, and I always say this to people, getting a state citizenship paperwork done, um, 10% of becoming a state citizen is the paperwork. 90% is me reprogramming your brain, who you are and who you aren't, and getting you out of fear, and getting you into an understanding of your relationship as their government. You don't serve them, they serve you. And this is what I wish pastors and scholars would step up and own up, because the Constitution, we don't have constitutional rights as state citizens. Your rights come from God. The Constitution is to restrain the federal and state governments. And so when you're standing in court complaining about your constitutional rights, first and foremost, if you're a US citizen, you don't even have access to the Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights don't protect you. Bill of Rights protect state citizens and state citizens only. So when you're asking about we've had members that have been paying that $49 for 12 years, and they find value in it, and they, get a wide array. If you have an emergency, you can call up. We got an 800 number for you that be able to ask questions, and we can tell you, look, this is going to be this, this, and this, and it's going to take a team, or it's going to take this. But there's basically just an access to a wealth of information, to private calls, private town hall meetings, that you may want to become a part, because we've helped a lot of people establish foundation accounts, exchange accounts for their digital assets. We've told them what we've been purchasing and why, and they can make their own big boy decisions. But doing it our way at $49 is a cheap donation to our foundation to help us out, uh, so that you can understand what coming out of here relating to your commerce really is, because you can go and invest and purchase homes, cars, um, and capital gains. Those different areas and things that you normally have to pay taxes on don't apply. Our type of entities do not have a taxable liability requirement, or a taxable event, or a obligation to file a return, period. And I mean that, hands down. So imagine structuring up the purchasing of crypto assets in the greatest time of history ever. Listen, what we are watching with digital assets moving into um, the blockchain being tokenized, you're watching a greater effect in the world marketplace than the internet. And so the companies that are supporting those types of structures and systems, XRP, XLM, XDC, ISO 20022 compliant companies, world order is basically, the IMF is saying, these are the companies we recommend. Those are the ones we recommend. It's like going to a congressional website to determine what Congress member is investing in what. That's what you should invest in. They're all multimillionaires because they all sit on the subcommittees, and they all know what company in their local area is about to make a big contract with the United States government. So they know that stock's going to go way up, and they make their few $1 million on their stocks. It's the same thing. we know what's about to take place and we know what is about to happen because we listened to what the power structures are saying, and it makes sense. Makes absolute sense. So we want to do that on a tax-free basis. I don't want to be obligated to pay a single dime on earnings that are made from those efforts. So we've developed structures and relationships that allow for our VIP members to do that kind of stuff. Or I created a ticket, but probably in the wrong place. It still says pending review. Howard, send an email to support at hisadvocates.org. Then your ticket will be done right. um, she's Nigerian by birth. What was okay, Howard, after her husband was refused to reentry at the into this country, she's Nigerian by birth. Okay, I don't see a question there, but I read the previous. Oh, you're helping somebody from foreclosure on their home. Yeah, send an email to support@hisadvocates.org. Give us the name and phone number. We don't do that, but we can refer people to assist them. Um, yeah, I'll do a live stream with her. Let me know. I want to know. I'm down. Just remember, operate in peace, and we need to be on one accord. I don't want to be fighting with anybody over Republic. You know what I mean, bro? We need to be one accord. We need to save this nation. Look at what they're doing to us, man. It's crazy. All right, guys. I know you got a ton of questions. I'm literally trying to get off a cold. I'm sitting in front of a air conditioner and I'm in a hotel room on the East Coast. Hey, if you're in Florida and you want to hang out tomorrow, let me know. Send an email to kelby@hisadvocates.org if you're in Florida tomorrow and you want to hang out. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to work from my computer from the hotel. It'd be cool to meet some people. But anyway, God bless, guys. I thank you for coming on. Let me see if there's any serious questions, like real questions I've never answered. Our question before Logan and being a citizen, how does this work differently? How does in an event of a death would a coroner still have to come and provide a death certificate? Yeah, I don't mean to laugh, Logan, but yeah, they don't treat the body any differently than any other body because you're a state citizen. If you stop using social in BC, should you watch it with some sort of service to make sure that somebody is not using you? That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I I don't know whether that matters or not. Nobody's going to steal the BC, but somebody might use the social for some. I sent my vehicle excise tax form back to the town. I wrote on it, this vehicle is used for private use, not used for profit or on the roads. I'm wondering what they're going to respond with this. Probably that you're a sovereign citizen. So is the vehicle owned by the foundation? First question. Second question is what state? We have letters. If you have issues and you're a VIP member or living in the private member, reach out. We'll give you some letters to respond with or something to think about or for yourself. Because generally there's nuancy stuff that you got to do first prior to, like we just had a guy that put his plane into the foundation um, and is trying to get out of the property associated tax of the plane. It's only a couple $100 a year. And rightfully so, you shouldn't have to pay taxes on it. But the approach and how you do it and letter wise and all that stuff super important. Thank you, John. I appreciate that comment. Really super important. Let me again go to the right side. Cindy. Um, Cindy says Kelby and his team are helping me to undo all adhesion contracts. I have a foundation already, and I'm waiting on my passport as a state citizen and redoing by removal of voter signatures, etc. Cindy, proud of you, girl. Super proud. And we have a good team, don't we? And they do what they say they're going to do, and they walk you right through it. So I'm super proud of you getting it done. For someone that just came across your channel, and if you can give me a little summarization. Also, are you offering knowledge on how to acquire a five-star non-citizen state national passport? So, um, I want to record this one because I've been dealing with this. Someone question is I just came across your channel and are you acquiring knowledge on how to acquire a five-star non-citizen state national passport? So I've addressed this a few times, and the people that are out there, and just so that you understand, we've done in excess of 10,000, going on 10,000 um, passports for people. Um, the stars mean something, but we've over 2,000 times FOIA'd them for that meeting. And one of the things we request on the FOIA, what do the stars mean? We do the FOIA because we're responding to no social letters, and meaning we didn't put a social on the application stuff. Um, and what I have determined is anybody that is out there touting that a five-star means you're a state citizen, I think they're full of it. Anybody that's touting that a five-star means that you're a U.S. citizen and no stars meaning you're a state citizen, I've heard the reverse order now 2 weeks ago. Um, they're full of it. I have seen full-blown state citizens with 3, 4, 5 stars. I've seen full-blown U.S. citizens never done anything with 5 stars. So why are there people out there touting that that exists? I don't know. I will tell you, be warned. You do not have any support for the term state national in law. There's no such thing. We got to be careful on the words. The words are important. State of the Union citizen. National is found under 8 USC 1101 821, and national is associated and is a U.S. citizen. I've done shows on this, proven this under their own law. You will not find any Supreme Courts saying a state citizen is a national. You will not find any Supreme Courts talking about the sovereignty of a national. You will find Supreme Courts talking about the sovereignty of a state of the Union citizen. Words are important. State citizen, state of the Union citizen, not national, not state national, not American national. On that note, thank you guys for putting up with my raspy voice and my casual attire and the fuzzy screen. God bless you guys. Appreciate you coming on and watching. I will shout at you on our next Q&A 2 weeks from today at 4 p.m. Pacific. God bless you guys. Have a great day.